I'm John Keller. I'm the chair of the Political Science Department at JMU. And what I'd like to do over the next few minutes is start out by giving you an overview of what our department has to offer and why you should consider one of our majors, minors, or graduate programs. And then I'm going to turn it over to our panel of faculty, students, and alumni to share some of their experiences as well. So I want to start by sharing my screen. All right, so let me start with our faculty. Let me go to the next slide here. Before I get to that, here's our panelists for tonight. In addition to me, we have Dr. David Jones, who's a professor in our department and the director of our Washington semester program. Dr. Melinda Adams, who's also a professor in the political science department and is also associate dean in the College of Arts and Letters and deals with pre-law. Anna McDuffie and Katie Mandible are both current political science majors. Kristen Kozlauskas graduated in 2009 with a degree in international affairs, and Ronnie Lau graduated in 2013 with a degree in political science. So again, thanks to all the panelists for being here tonight. Let me start with our faculty. We have 31 full-time professors who are not only exceptional teachers, but are also productive scholars. They've received research grants from sources such as the Department of Justice, Fulbright, and the National Science Foundation. And you as a student will have opportunities to team up with faculty to do research if this interests you. Importantly, you'll be taught directly by your professors, not by graduate students. I tell prospective students that you would prefer to have the 46-year-old version of me who's been teaching for 20 years rather than the 26-year-old version of me who was figuring out how to teach on the job as a graduate student. This is what you'll get in our department. You'll be taught directly by experts in the field who are very experienced teachers and scholars. Beyond a few large intro courses, our courses are capped at about 30 students. So class sizes are small and you'll have the opportunity to work one-on-one with your professors. Our department focuses on training students in marketable skills, such as critical thinking, research, and communication skills. Beyond the substantive content, you will learn about subjects such as public policy, international relations, and American government. These lifelong skills will make you attractive on the job market and allow you to be adaptable as careers change and as your interests change. As you'll see later on, our majors end up doing things well beyond narrowly defined political science professions. So a degree from our department will open up opportunities to work in government, in nonprofits, for corporations, and in many other sectors. One way we build these skills is through applied learning activities such as simulations, policy briefs, community engagement projects, and even projects such as hacking for defense and diplomacy, in which actors like the State Department or NATO will give groups of students and faculty difficult problems to work on and solve. Here's a picture of Dr. Bernie Kausler with a group of Hacking for Defense students working on a crisis decision-making project for NATO. And here's a group of our students at a Model African Union conference where they were very successful and took home some awards. We think it's very important to let our students explore a variety of careers and prepare for that work. This can include academic internships with a variety of government agencies, political parties, nonprofits, and interest groups. Our Washington semester program, which you'll hear a bit more about from Dr. Jones in a few minutes, is one of JMU's finest and most high-profile programs. Students will spend a semester in Washington working full-time on an internship and taking 2 classes that involve guest speakers, visits to sites such as the World Bank or State Department, and generally take advantage of everything that Washington, D.C. has to offer. I also want to emphasize our alumni network, which is truly amazing. We have over 1,000 alumni, graduates of our department, who are now working in D.C., Richmond, and elsewhere, who are interested in helping our current students explore careers, develop their skills, and navigate the job market. This is one of the real distinctives of our department. I've never seen an alumni network that is as numerous, helpful, or engaged as ours is. As a student, you're going to benefit greatly from having their support and guidance. Every semester on campus, we have over a dozen alumni running mock interviews, resume writing workshops, and doing career panels on topics like going to law school, working on campaigns, working in the intelligence community, or running a nonprofit organization. We also hold regular networking events that allow you to connect with our alumni, get business cards, and stay in touch with those who are doing work that interests you. In fact, our next Alumni Day is right around the corner on November 13th. Our alumni have adapted well to the pandemic, and it will be a fully virtual event. Here is a picture of one of those alumni networking events, bringing together our graduates and our current students. And here's a picture of Dr. David Jones speaking with a student in the Washington Semester Program. I now want to briefly review our majors, minors, and graduate programs. The political science major is a good fit for students who are interested in any political science related topic, ranging from international relations and diplomacy to American politics and campaigns, from public policy to comparative politics to political philosophy. You can tailor the major to your needs by taking electives that fit your interests and career goals. Hearing a little bit of background noise, if everybody could make sure to mute their microphones. The International Affairs major is an interdisciplinary major. Here you would be taking courses from economics, foreign language, history, political science, and other departments. You would choose one concentration that is either a regional concentration, focusing on one of 5 areas of the world, or a substantive track, which could be international conflict and security, global human development, or foreign policy and global governance. Our third major is public policy and administration. This is an applied interdisciplinary major, which allows you to choose a concentration in either public management or public policy. Graduates of this major have gone on to work as town and city managers, as owners of nonprofits, as employees in federal government agencies, and in many other areas of public service and policy analysis. We also offer a master's in public administration. For JMU undergrads who major in public policy and administration, we have a 5-year path to receiving both your bachelor's degree and your MPA degree within 5 years. Some of the details are shown on this slide. By the way, this is recorded, so you'll be able to go back at a later time and review these slides if there's information that you didn't catch. Our second master's program is a master's in political science focused on European Union policy studies. It is located entirely in Florence, Italy, and lasts 11 months. You do the fall semester, spring semester, and summer, and then you're done. As with the MPA program, the European Union master's program would allow you to earn both your bachelor's degree and master's degree in 5 years. We offer minors in political science, public policy and administration, and political communication. I want to highlight the political communication minor, which is really an interesting cross-disciplinary minor, drawing on courses from political science, communications, and media arts and design. It's a great program for someone interested in working on campaigns and elections or in public relations. There are also many opportunities to study abroad while at JMU. JMU has an excellent study abroad office called the Center for Global Engagement, which runs dozens of study abroad trips every year, sending professors and students throughout the world. Many of these are short-term summer study abroad trips for as little as 3 weeks, but we also have semester-length study abroad opportunities. Professors in our department routinely direct programs in London, Florence, China, Israel and Palestine, Argentina, and Bosnia. This is a picture from the study abroad trip that I led to China in summer 2019. Here we are atop the Great Wall, an unforgettable experience. Study abroad can be life-changing in terms of the knowledge you gain, the sights you see, and the people you meet. Many of our graduates go on to graduate school or law school. Here's a list of where some of our recent graduates have ended up. There's some very impressive institutions on this list. And here are some examples of the many places our alumni are now working, both inside and outside of government. As you can see, we have alums throughout federal, state, and local government, working for interest groups and campaigns, running nonprofits, doing consulting in the DC area, and even working for Microsoft and Comcast. As I said earlier, with the skills you will learn and the networks you build through our department, you will have many exciting opportunities after graduation. That concludes a brief overview of the political science department. You can find much more information on our website, which is jmu.edu/poli-sci. Our department's located in Miller Hall on campus, and you're welcome to visit and meet with me or another professor when the office is open. There's my email address. Feel free to contact me with additional questions. Let me now turn things over to our panel to each speak for a few minutes about their own areas of expertise or experiences within our department. And then there will be plenty of time for Q&A. So let me start with David Jones, who's a professor in our department and also runs the Washington Semester Program.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Welcome. Yeah, I'm here to talk to you about Washington Semester. We created Washington Semester back in 1997 for the purpose of enabling students to do a full-time internship while remaining a JMU student. Students are going to hear, you probably already heard, that you need to do at least one internship before you graduate. We created this program so that you could actually pursue a full-time internship while at JMU, while you're getting credits. You don't have to take the semester off. You don't have to, you can continue your summer job and earn money during the summer and do your internship during the semester. So it's a well-established program. It's been in place for a number of years. We're one of the more established Washington internship programs in the city. In addition to the internship, which I think is what draws most students to the program, you can imagine that living and working in DC is a significant draw. It's more than a work experience. You're immersing yourself, pre-launching your career, launching your career early, living with a cohort of fellow students, and enjoying all that Washington has to offer. One of the nice offshoots of our Washington Semester Program is it's really served as a platform for building our alumni network. So much of what Dr. Keller described originated through the relationships that we established through Washington Semester. Our alumni, of course, have provided internships, but more importantly, provided career guidance and inspiration really from the beginning of the program's inception, and continue to help us expand our program options, enrich the program, and serve, very importantly, serve as networking contacts for our students. So, so as you can see, Washington Semester will provide a number of our students with an opportunity to launch your career early, kind of get a taste for what's out there, and an excellent platform for beginning to connect with our alumni. I'll look forward to your questions later in the event.
Thanks, David. Let's have Melinda Adams talk a little bit now. She is she's an associate dean in the College of Arts and Letters and also one of our departmental professors. Melinda.
Thank you. Welcome, everyone. So as Dr. Keller noted, I teach in the Department of Political Science. Specifically, I teach courses in African politics, the politics of development. I've led our study abroad program in Ghana, but then I have another role where I work in the College of Arts and Letters, and as part of those responsibilities, I coordinate our pre-law program. So the pre-law program at JMU and generally at most universities is primarily an advising program. So we have about a dozen pre-law advisors located across campus, 4 of which are located in our Department of Political Science. And so these advisors work with you throughout your academic career so they can help you select courses that are going to develop the skills that law schools want. So things like developing critical thinking, problem solving, logical reasoning, oral and written communication, and research skills. And they also can help you select courses that give you some exposure to law, which can be really helpful in deciding whether law school is the right path for you and whether a legal career is the right path. Advisors also share helpful information on co-curricular opportunities. In addition, the pre-law program organizes a number of workshops and information sessions on a variety of topics. So some of the past things that we've focused on are finding a pre-law internship, and I work with our academic and career planning office to design that programming. Learning about legal careers. Last March, unfortunately, we had to cancel the event, but we were supposed to go right after spring break to Richmond to have to actually observe some of the arguments at the courts in Richmond, and then meet with a number of alumni who work in various legal capacities in Richmond. So to get an exposure of the variety of career paths that are available. We also do programming on navigating the application process, writing personal statements, preparing for the LSAT, financing law school, so a variety of different topics. In addition, we have some co-curricular opportunities that are really based in our department as well. I think one of the most interesting is the moot court team. And so this is advised by Dr. Rutherford in our department. And moot court simulates one part of the legal system, the appellate oral arguments. So students learn about appellate advocacy by stepping into the role of an attorney, presenting a case to a panel of judges, and participating in moot court competitions, so around the state and even within the region. JMU also has a pre-law fraternity, Phi Alpha Delta, that organizes programming, has conferences, and has a lot of events on campus that are really interesting for pre-law students. So I'm happy to answer additional questions later in the session.
Great, thanks, Melinda. Let's turn it over to Anna McDuffie to talk a little bit about the experiences as a student.
Hi, my name is Anna McDuffie, and I am a senior. I'll be graduating in the spring, and I double major in political science and communication studies. I originally came into JMU as a political science major, and then in my junior year, I added on communication studies. But the political science department has given me the opportunity to join a wide variety of organizations. For example, I was in the Career Peer Advisor program for 2 years, where essentially you act as sort of a liaison between alumni, faculty, and students through helping plan various events. We held some resume reviews, we had some guest speakers, and we helped out at Alumni Day. This program has really helped me network with alumni, which as I'm beginning my job search, I can tell you that is one of the most useful skills and networks that I have built during my time at JMU. I'm also the student representative on the political science alumni board, where my role has been rather similar to the career peer advisor position. Again, just offering a student point of view for planning events. And finally, I am the vice president of the public affairs student organization, where at the moment we're in charge of selling department t-shirts. And hopefully in the spring, we'll be doing a 5K, but we are in a pandemic, so who knows how we will be modifying our spring semester event. But this department does a great job of passing along really valuable opportunities for you, and I highly suggest that you take advantage of them during your time at JMU, as they've honestly opened so many doors for me. I had the opportunity to work with Dr. Adams, I believe last semester, on doing research for the JMU pre-law website, as well as another professor, Professor Chiswick, suggested me for the alumni board position. The political science faculty are always willing to help you out if you need. For example, last week I met with Professor Charles Blake, who isn't even a professor whose class that I've taken, but we're both on the alumni board. So he was nice enough to go out of his way to give me a list of contacts to reach out to help me with my job search. And overall, my involvement with this department has really helped me fill out my resume. And as I've been doing job interviews since I'll be graduating in the spring, on-campus involvement is something that everyone has really stressed that they want to see, especially in the job climate that I'm going out into, with how internships have worked out with COVID. They really want to see that you've been active on campus, and the political science department does a great job of giving you those opportunities. Another thing that I love about the political science department is that there is a really wide range of courses for you to choose from. Obviously, there are the required classes that you have to take, and then there's different sections, but within those sections, you can kind of tailor it to your interests. So you have to take, for example, an American government class, but you could take minority group politics or elections and voting behavior or constitutional law. So you can really take control of what you're studying and learn about what you're really interested in. And then just to briefly touch on double majoring, because a lot of people in the political science, or at least in the political science major, are also double majors. So this leaves room for you to add another area of study if that's something you're interested in doing. You could add minors, you can add another major like me. For example, the communication studies major with my concentration in public relations is, I think, 39 credits. So it's definitely manageable to do 2 different areas of study if that's something that you're interested in. I know that if you're just coming into JMU, that sounds kind of like intimidating to be thinking about doing more than 1 major, but don't feel like you need to have like everything figured out. I didn't declare a second major until the end of my junior year, so I wouldn't stress out about that. But if you guys have any questions about clubs, coursework, involvement, anything like that, feel free to ask me during the Q&A.
Thanks, Anna. I would also mention it's easy to do an international affairs major and another major or minor. It's fairly common because you're, as an international affairs major, you're taking foreign language courses, economics courses, and many of our students will pick up a major or minor in one of those areas. Let's go next to Katie Mandible, another one of our current political science majors.
Hi everyone, my name is Katie Mandible. I am a junior international affairs major. I'm on the pre-law track and I'm also in the honors program. And I also have a minor in business French. And I covered a lot. Something I want to touch on is the political science department's connection to the Center of Global Engagement. I've actually been able to participate in not one, but two study abroad programs. The first was an immersion program in the south of France, where I spent 6 weeks living with a host mom, and was really able to increase my ability to not only read and write French, but to also speak it. It definitely helps. I would definitely recommend looking into study abroad programs. The other one I participated in was the Florence semester study abroad program. Unfortunately, I participated in it last spring, so it was cut short. But both study abroad opportunities definitely gave me the ability to dive into other cultures, which is something that I very much appreciate. So yeah.
Great, thanks, Katie. And thanks for correcting me on your major, international affairs rather than political science. Let's go now to our alumni panelists. We can start with Kirsten Kozlauskas, who, as I mentioned, graduated with an international affairs degree back in what year? Remind me.
2009.
Okay, thank you. Please go ahead.
Yeah, sure. So as Dr. Keller said, my name is Kirsten. I'm originally from Midlothian, Virginia in the Richmond area. And home for me now is Northeast Washington, D.C. So when I was at JMU, I double majored in international affairs and in French. And in my junior year, I did an internship in Washington, D.C. through the Washington semester that everyone's been talking about. And I also studied abroad. I did a semester in London and I did a short-term study abroad program in Paris. It's been 12 years since I graduated, and I currently serve on the Political Science Alumni Board and regularly engage with current students both on campus and more so virtually these days, but have a lot of opportunities to get to know current students. So let me just say that when I was at JMU, I was preparing to be an American diplomat. That's why I was an international affairs major. I wanted to take the US Foreign Service exam. But before I could do that, I fell into a job with the Canadian Embassy in Washington as a local member of their team. So before you ask, I'm not Canadian, but I actually had no idea that the British and the Canadians and the Australians and some of our key national security partners employ American citizens in their embassies in Washington to work one-on-one with their diplomats and help them navigate the US policymaking process. So even though I was an international affairs major, ironically, I'm doing a lot of my day-to-day work as a young professional on American politics. So for example, well, I guess I should say, I've been with the embassy now for 10 years. I started as an assistant and now I head up the intergovernmental affairs section at the embassy. So all things states, cities, provinces, parliamentarians. An example that I'd like to flag, as you can imagine, foreign governments watch very closely what happens on American election night every cycle. They're not taking sides, but they're just being prepared for whatever's going to happen. So on Tuesday night next week, I'm going to be liaising with the 12 consulates across the United States as the election results come in. And it's my job to filter what they say is important on the ground, report on gubernatorial and state races in a report that goes to the highest levels of government in Canada, including the guy that you're thinking of. But it's pretty cool. So it's an opportunity to do both American politics and international affairs. Both of my majors at JMU help me every single day. I said I was a French major. Sometimes I work in French as one of the two official languages of Canada's government. And as Dr. Keller said, if you do a little bit of homework in advance and you plan ahead, you really can double major or do study abroad, Washington semester, and still graduate on time. A lot of the courses really will directly count for your international affairs major or your foreign language major. The last thing I'll say is I loved my international affairs major because it was so interdisciplinary. I like to know a little bit about a lot of different things. So I love studying history and political science, culture, foreign language. I thought it was great. And I use what I learned at JMU every single day. But I will stop there and turn it over to Ronnie in a second, but I'm happy to answer any questions during the discussion.
Great, thanks, Kirsten. Last but not least, let's go to Ronnie Lau, who graduated in 2013 with the political science degree.
Thanks, Dr. Keller, and thanks, Kirsten. Hi, everybody. Again, my name is Ronnie Lau. I graduated in 2013 with a political science degree. I also minored in Asian studies, which was a newer minor when I was in school, probably not so new now. But it was a really cool minor to tie in with political science because there were a number of courses in terms of that came out of the political science department that counted towards that minor. So it was kind of a great way to segue with a couple of other departments, but also bring in some other courses that met some of what I was interested in when I was studying at school at JMU into that minor and into a little bit more of a specialty in terms of what I was looking for in terms of my academics. I currently right now work as a federal lobbyist for the National Education Association, NEA for short. If you do not know what the NEA is the largest labor union in the United States and professional organization. We represent roughly about 3 million members across the nation. That's K-12 to higher education faculty, educators, and teachers, but also education support professionals. Anybody far in between that works in public education are members of our union. And what predominantly in my work I do on a day-to-day basis is communicate with members of Congress, senators, House of Representative members, and their staff, and asserting our legislative agenda to how to best benefit students and our teachers in public education, which obviously is in a great deal of turmoil, unfortunately, right now, as you guys know, thanks to COVID-19. So we're very busy, but it is a really great job and a really awesome thing to do. But overall, beforehand, I've worked in campaigns and also worked on Congress previously for a couple of members. And JMU did a fantastic job in terms of helping me prepare for both of them. I took Dr. Jones's political campaigning and communications class, and I took a campaign job pretty much right out of school. And I would safe to say that I got a really good head start because of that, because of some of the coursework and just understanding the inner workings about how a campaign functions as a whole. We did a lot of great mock ways of just like, where each class member was assigned a different role in a campaign, whether the candidate or the campaign manager or the political director or the communications person. Is a really great way to kind of get nitty gritty and kind of mock up what you would be doing on the job. And I also mentioned I worked in Congress and I took Dr. LaPira's congressional class, which was also super helpful. When I first took the class, I thought it was just going to be, about the legislative branch. And he did a great job in terms of framing it about many of you guys are going to probably work as legislative staff at some point or another in your life, or may be interested in doing so. And he kind of framed the class in doing ways where you would understand the role of legislative staff and what they play in terms of Congress and how much work that they do behind the scenes. So all of that was really just awesome in terms of providing an overview about the potential careers that are out there for you guys in terms of what this degree can offer, and really get into the weeds about preparing what you guys should know or what it takes to be a part of the job. As Kristen mentioned, we're both part of the Political Science Alumni Board. I am the co-chair of the Student Outreach Committee. So we do a ton of events communicating with the students about whether it's networking or resume reviews or different career panels to demonstrate other alumni besides ourselves about what are the careers out there and what we are up to in terms of the possibilities that are around for your degree. We actually have in a couple of weeks our annual Alumni Day. We usually host it on campus, but obviously with this year with COVID-19, it's a little different. So it's all virtual, but it's been a really great way to engage with students. And obviously, as Anna mentioned, do some of that networking that's so crucial in terms of finding folks jobs and helping them make those connections that you may never know down the road that might be very helpful. So we're both here, and the rest of us on the alumni board are here as a resource. We love doing this stuff to help you guys, and hopefully you guys will take a part in this and choose this as your major.
Thanks, Ronnie. All right, well, we've heard from our panelists, and it's time to open it up for questions. So if any of our attendees have some questions they'd like to direct to specific panelists, or to just throw at the panel, to all of us, please go ahead. And I think we have this set up where you can type a question into the chat box. Okay, I see a question from Jasmine saying, how many foreign language courses would I need for an international affairs or international business? So for international affairs, the requirement is that you show proficiency at the 3rd year. Let me actually turn my camera on. You show proficiency at the 3rd year of a foreign language. And if you are doing a one of those topical international affairs concentrations like international conflict and security or global human development, you could choose any foreign language. But if you are choosing a regional concentration like Asia or Middle East, you need to have a language that's commonly spoken in that region. So, but the rule is proficiency at the 3rd year level. So if you come to JMU, haven't had any background in, let's say, Spanish, you need to take 6 semesters, basically 3 years of that foreign language. If you come into JMU and can place out of, say, place into the 2nd year of a foreign language, then you only have to complete 2. So that's the language requirement for the international affairs major. I'm actually not certain about international business. That's outside of our department. Political science, you need 2 years of a foreign language because it's a Bachelor of Arts degree, and the BA requirement is for any Bachelor of Arts major is 2 years of a foreign language. Other questions?
I see another one popped up on the Q&A on short-term international studies programs. From my perspective, when I was at JMU, I did a short-term summer abroad program. So that was in July. We were home by early August. I also did another 4-week program in May in Martinique in the French West Indies or East Indies. But I think there's a number of programs that many of people on this panel have participated in, and JMU has so many compared to other universities. And the advantages there, it's easy for the credits to transfer, or not transfer, it's direct enrollment. So you're not necessarily negotiating with other universities to transfer your credits, which I thought was awesome.
And I see another question about shorter term study abroad trips. The short-term ones happen during the summer. That's like my trip to China. A lot of these are maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. We have some longer ones in the summer. But yes, that's right, that in the for the summer, you'll have the short-term trips, and then the semester-long ones will obviously be during the fall or the spring semester. But there's so many options. I mean, I really feel bad about how COVID has impacted the study abroad programs, because they just had to suspend a lot of them. But we're hoping to be able to do some next summer, and I'm hoping to return to my China trip the summer after. So I expect we'll be back to full strength at some point within the next year or so. But just so many opportunities for study abroad. It's really, really impressive.
Question in the chat there, John, about whether you need a background in a language to take the language courses. What's your experience there? And maybe Kirsten can tackle that one too.
Yeah, you really don't need a background. You can start with French 101 and 102. And in fact, we often have students who will come in and start Arabic or Chinese, or the language that's maybe more difficult for most of us than, say, French, and pick it up and do well. So yes, there's no requirement that you have any background in a foreign language. You can come in and start taking your foreign language when you arrive here.
I would agree with that.
And also,
sorry, I would only.
Sorry, I was just going to say that you also can often get some foreign language training when you study abroad. There's often courses in a language that's in that country being offered as the abroad program.
Absolutely.
Kirsten, go ahead.
No, as I said before, I was a French major, but part of the reason I was able to do that, like when I went to Paris in the summer, I got 9 foreign language credits. So it was an opportunity to study the language practically. But the other thing I would say is there's so many different types of language classes. So if you're interested in grammar, you know, a lot of those courses are required, but there's also cinema courses or linguistics or literature. So even if you don't have a background, like you can hop right in, you can take the intro classes, but then there are different ways to experience the language as well.
Other questions for any of our panelists? One thing I often mention during these events when I talk to prospective students and parents is, you know, my experience. I went to a small liberal arts college in Nebraska where I grew up. It was a good school, but there was no alumni network of, you know, a bunch of people in DC like we have at JMU. And so I thought I wanted to work in intelligence. I think I probably had seen too many Tom Clancy films, thought I was going to be Jack Ryan, had ideas in my mind about what working in intelligence would be. Sorry, it looks like I'm froze up my video. Here we go. I think I had terrific ideas about what working as an intelligence analyst would be like. And if I had had the opportunity to talk to somebody who's actually doing that work and see, you know, a day in the life of an analyst, here's the sorts of things that you're actually doing, I would have a better sense of what that line of work was actually like. And so I appreciate so much our alumni network and the fact that we've got all these events for our current students where, you know, you want to work in intelligence, you can talk to somebody who's doing that kind of work. Or if you want to work on a campaign, you can talk to those who are doing that work and see, is this something I would actually like to do? The job. So it's extremely valuable to talk to people who are actually doing what you think you might want to do as kind of a reality check.
John, there's a question in the chat about the master's program. I don't know if you're about the 5-year and whether you need to be an undergrad at JMU to see, do you have to attend JMU as an undergrad to participate in the master, or can you jump in for grad school? I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah, well, you can attend a different undergraduate institution and come to JMU for graduate school for either our MPA, Masters in Public Administration, or our Masters in European Union Policy Studies. That's no problem. A lot of students go to other institutions and then come to JMU for their graduate work. However, if you want to do the 5-year MPA program, it's structured in such a way that you're going to start taking graduate courses when you're a senior, maybe even a junior, but it's certainly a senior. You're taking some MPA courses, and so that's how you get through in 5 years. It's 1 year beyond when you graduate with your undergraduate degree. So if you just came to JMU after completing an undergraduate degree elsewhere, you would do typically a 2-year MPA program. So yes, for the 5-year master's, you need to be at JMU. David, one of the questions we frequently get has to do with how competitive the Washington semester program is. Do you have to, apply for it? The chances that you'll be able to do it if you, in fact, are applying. Can you talk a little bit about the process for getting into that program?
Sure. I mean, it is, there is an application process. It has gotten more competitive as the program has become more popular. We do have limited spots. We take about 20 students a semester, and we typically get 50 to 60 applications a year. But we try to make the program as open to a wide array of students as possible. We definitely don't want to describe it as an honors program. We pay close attention to the essay that students write when they describe and explain their interest in the program, and that's as important as one's GPA and some of the other things that they might demonstrate. Your past activities, extracurriculars, or interest in some of those activities, I think, is important. Our concern, of course, is that we want students in the program who are going to shine in internships. And so we are selective, but it's not just a GPA process or reviewing the GPA. There's a lot more to it than that.
What I loved about Washington semester and living with the cohort in Washington, D.C. is, of course, you had your internship and you went from 9 to 5 and you did great things on your own, but you also got to experience sort of all of the internships that everybody else was going through, either through their stories or people would invite you to events in the evenings or during the day that their internships were putting on. So in terms of the discussion we had earlier about, knowing what you don't like to do or just figuring things out step by step, I think that that's one way to do it.
I think that's a great way of describing it. It's when we say you are pre-launching your career, you're exposing yourself not only to this full-time internship that you have for the entire semester, but you are vicariously experiencing the internships of your colleagues. And between the other 18 to 20 students who are doing the program, it covers a lot of ground. So you're gonna finish the program with just a much keener sense of what your options are, what your strengths and weaknesses are, what you maybe need to go back and work on, some skills that you need to build before you actually enter the workforce. And so there really is a lot to it, not just your own internship, but everybody else's experiences as well.
And to add to that, as someone, I didn't participate in the Washington semester, unfortunately. But I have friends that have did, and just in terms of someone who works in Washington, D.C., the access that it provides is just so crucial. You really do get a jump start ahead of time by just having that access while you're at school versus after you graduate. So when I graduated and I was trying to plant my roots in Washington, D.C. and expand my network, go to all these different events, I was delayed in terms of that, because I didn't have that previous access levels as the Washington semester participants did. So I think that's just so crucial in terms of understanding about how Washington works and how the career works and all that. It's just such an important benefit, and what an awesome program it is for that.
Oh, well, thank you. Dr. Keller has indicated that he's having problems with his screen, and so he's asked me to bring this event to a close. We're aiming for 45 minutes, and we're right there. Thank you very much for joining us. Like Dr. Keller said, this is being recorded, and so if there's anything you want to go back and take notes on, feel free. The link will be available, I think, tomorrow. And you go on our website and you can find contact information for any of us. Please reach out. I'm sure we can put you in touch with any of our alumni. We can certainly put you in touch with students. We look forward to hearing from you, and we hope that you'll apply, and we hope to see you in the department next year. So thank you again. And thanks to our panelists for all that you had to say. It was very much appreciated.
Thank you.